How did they get this desktop gaming PC smaller than a PS5 and an Xbox, bro? Now right here we got the Zbox Magnus EN374070C Windows Mini Gaming PC, and as you can see it is much smaller than any Xbox and PS5. I'd say this is probably the same size as like a Nintendo Wii or a Nintendo Wii U. That's what it's kind of reminded me of. Mad lightweight. I, at this point, don't believe that this can actually play games at 4K. Like, how small is this thing? It's ridiculous. Now on the front we got a big ass power button, USB-A 3.2 Gen 2 port, Thunderbolt 4 USB-C port, UHS 2 SD card reader, and we got a microphone and headphone port. Now please forgive my overexposed background, but on the back going from left to right we got a power port, 2 Ethernet ports, we got 4 USB 3.2 Gen 2 USB-A ports, 2 display ports, HDMI, and we got 2 antennas which must be for Wi-Fi or something. Now if you're feeling a bit techie, you can actually open the thing up to expose the innards. Now they've given you the same amount of upgrade options as you would get with a laptop, namely another SSD slot, you got another RAM slot there for dual memory RAM as well, and you can even swap out the Wi-Fi card if you get bored of that for a new one. Now I feel like it kind of goes without saying, but this can obviously be used as a normal PC for multitasking, doing web browsing, doing little stuff like, I don't know, Microsoft Teams, Zoom calls, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel spreadsheets, all that stuff this thing finds easy. It's only got 16 gigabytes of RAM in it at the moment, but obviously you can go dual channel with that and put up to 64 gigabytes, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what it is. Now I'm gonna dive straight in with the gaming performance of this thing, yeah. Kina, Bridge of Spirits, 4K resolution, DirectX 12, maximum settings, everything ultra, we're looking at 75 frames per second plus, yeah? You can tell just by that we're not messing around here when it comes to performance of this little box, fam. Your PS5 ain't doing that, fam, yeah? Do you get it? Your Xbox Series X ain't doing them kind of frames there. I could really end the video here, fam, because once it can play Kina, it can play everything. But do you know what? Let's move on to something else. Now I can't lie, at 4K resolution, the little Zbox found Helldivers 2 4K resolution, maximum ultra settings a little bit tough to swallow, fam. 30 frames per second, obviously still definitely playable in terms of PlayStation like console standards and like Xbox and everything there, but obviously on PC we want a little 60 frames per second, and in order to get that we're gonna have to go down to 2K resolution, keep everything else on ultra settings or take down some of them ultra settings. Now you can see here I've opted to keep the 4K resolution and turn down some of them in-game settings, and now I'm getting 55 plus frames per second, which again isn't too bad. I think the sweet spot though is doing 2K medium to high settings for this specific rig here. Another game that this Zbox is killing out here is Horizon Zero Dawn. We got 4K ultra settings. We are doing 50 plus frames per second. 4K ultra, you know, that's not bad. Again, going down to 2K or, you know, turning the settings down a little bit, maybe to medium or high, very high, or perhaps just original as it was on the PS5. Wavy, bro. Now you're getting a nice, good 60 frames per second plus, something that I think the PS5 probably only just got the other day. Yeah man, Horizon runs very good on this. Even 50 frames per second, 55 frames per second at 4K maxed, I'm not mad at that, fam. Like, that is still playable, but obviously I know the purists will want that 60 plus in it if they're playing with mouse and keyboard. And I think I just wanted to show you here quickly that when you're set to 2K, yeah, you're looking at 75 frames per second plus. A lot smoother, a lot more fun to play if you're using mouse and keyboard kind of thing. But like I said, I'm not mad at 4K max settings, 55 plus frames per second anyway. Now moving on to Rapture and Clank Rift Apart 4K max settings. You guys must be sick of this game if you've been following my channel for a long time, because I constantly go on about how sick the visual fidelity of this game is. Anyway, let me not go down that rabbit hole again today. But this thing seems to be pretty much pushing it a little bit of a 55 frames per second. It gets over 60 at some points, but I think sweet spot for this thing is to go down to 2K resolution and maybe turn down some of them graphical settings to very high instead of ultra, so that you can get that sweet spot of 60 frames per second plus if you're using mouse and keyboard. And again, I thought I would just show you guys some of the performance at 2K. We're getting 75 plus frames per second there. Some dips down to 60, but basically if you're on mouse and keyboard, you won't really notice that anyway. Nice and smooth gameplay there, man. Very nice and smooth. Now, a couple of you are probably wondering how they were capable of making a gaming desktop this small that was capable of playing 4K games at high frame rates. And one of the main reasons for that is the fact that it uses a lot of parts that are common in high-end gaming laptops. This is essentially a high-end gaming laptop that's coming without the screen, which is good because it means that there's less power that's going to the screen, and that power can now be focused onto the CPU and GPU. However, there are a couple downsides to that. You're using laptop accessories or laptop parts, so essentially you're gonna be restricted to laptop performance. Now, gaming laptops have got really good, but they will never be able to beat their desktop counterparts because of thermal constraints and just general power that can be given to that CPU and GPU on the motherboard. And there's also the fact that you can't really upgrade the CPU and GPU. What you get on the mini desktop that you're getting in terms of CPU and GPU is what you're keeping, because obviously all of that is soldered to the motherboard. You can upgrade RAM and you can upgrade SSD, even swap out the Wi-Fi card if you want to, as I've said before, but that's how you're kind of limited in terms of how you can upgrade this in the future. So it's not very future proofed, but it is a good setup that you got there. HDMI 2.1 as well, double Ethernet port that is like what, gigabit per second kind of thing. You got quite good strong specs in there, fam. It's not nothing to be slept on. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Would you go for a mini gaming desktop like this, now seeing the performance that it's capable of? Let me know and I'll catch you guys in the next one.